We come on the air with significant breaking news this afternoon in a story that has captured the country's attention for the better part of the last 6 days. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione has been named a person of interest in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. At this hour, he's being held for questioning in central Pennsylvania. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch confirmed this afternoon that Mangione was arrested on firearms charges and that he had a number of items on him that matched the details of the gunman.
Earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male, on firearms charges. At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen, targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan. The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized. Responding officers questioned the suspect, who was acting suspiciously and was carrying multiple fraudulent IDs as well as a U.S. passport. Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person, as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident.
Mangione, as she said, was eating at the McDonald's when an employee recognized him and called the police. The NYPD commissioner today acknowledged that getting the surveillance footage out was key to capturing Mangione.
We must also acknowledge the instrumental role the media and the public played in this case. The images that we shared with the public were spread far and wide, and the tips we received led to the recovery of crucial evidence. We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations.
Mangione was found more than 200 miles from Midtown Manhattan, where Thompson was murdered, and on the very same day that loved ones are holding a funeral service for Thompson. As for a motive, police recovered a handwritten 3-page document that police are calling a manifesto. NYPD confirms that Mangione appeared to have ill will towards corporate America. Sources telling the New York Times that Mangione wrote in the document this, quote, criticizing healthcare companies for putting profits above care. Mangione was also found with the so-called ghost gun, that is a firearm that may have been made with a 3D printer. It's where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. With me at the table, former top official at the Department of Justice, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissmann. Also joining us, former assistant director for counterintelligence at the FBI, senior MSNBC national security and intel analyst Frank Figliuzzi's back. We're going to start with my colleague, NBC News correspondent Sam Brock. He's outside the hotel where the shooting took place. Sam, what's the latest?
Sure. So this all seemed to resolve, or at least the person of interest, Nicole, a long way from Midtown Manhattan, about a 4.5-hour drive from here to Altoona. Let's start with the top line right now, Nicole, which is after roughly 5.5 days of a manhunt and images saturating everyone's TVs and social media channels. It was a McDonald's employee in Altoona at about 9:15 this morning that detected suspicious activity and recognized that face and called police, and they then responded, questioned the individual at hand, and after some questioning found out, as you said, that he had a fake ID that exactly matched the same name on a fake ID that was presented to that hostel on the Upper West Side on November 24th. So that's part A. Part B, the firearm. Nicole, the NYPD here had spent hours and hours, days, searching for the firearm, knowing how paramount it was, the ballistics testing and how it could be connected to the person of interest in this case, had combed through large portions of Central Park, did not find the firearm. But earlier today, we found out that this individual, the person of interest, did have a firearm that matched the description of the one that was used in the murder, which, according to police today, we later found out was a ghost gun likely made or potentially made from a 3D printer. All of that lines up. Here is another sort of very difficult part of all of this to comprehend as we're learning more about Mangione and his family. We've learned, Nicole, he's got a large one. It's prominent. Huge political and real estate footprint in the Baltimore area. He has 2 siblings. He has dozens upon dozens of cousins and uncles. They own multiple country clubs. His uncle, or excuse me, his cousin is a member of the Maryland legislature. He is a state delegate. The chief of staff for Nico Mangione said that is his cousin. We are going to be coming out with a statement later today. So he's all these family members, this massive presence, and it was a random stranger that pointed out to police that this might be their person. Again, Mangione has not been charged with anything. We are also learning much more about his background as well, Nicole, just to dip into that slightly. Gilman School, which is an all-boys school in Baltimore, did issue a note to graduates, to its community today, saying that the person that was arrested and really wanted for questioning in connection with what happened with the Midtown murder was an alumnus of our school, and our hearts go out to everybody that was affected. On LinkedIn, Mangione says that he was, in fact, a valedictorian of that school. His fraternity at the University of Pennsylvania confirms he did attend Penn from 2017 to 2020 and was a member of their fraternity there. According to the University of Pennsylvania, someone by the name of Luigi Mangione did receive their master's in engineering at Penn. He has connections to Stanford as well. Stanford confirming that someone with that very same name was a head counselor in pre-collegiate studies. So Penn, Stanford, valedictorian potentially at his high school. This seemed like a really well-educated guy with a prominent family, with a huge footprint in Baltimore. And here we are now, almost 6 days into this manhunt, and police have said it. It was the incredible work that they did, combing through hundreds upon hundreds of video surveillance systems and using drones and trying to effort the channels of reaching the public through whatever means possible to get those images out there, coming out with batches of images. But the most clear picture certainly was the one from the hostel with his mask pulled down, according to police, because the person of interest in this case was flirting with the person at the desk. So we now wait to find out whether or not this is going to change in terms of the designation from person of interest to anything else. But that questioning, you would have to imagine right now, Nicole, continues as we learn more and more information.
Sam, do you know logistically when or if the NYPD will be in front of him, or if they're in front of him right now, or if he's still being questioned by Pennsylvania authorities?
Our understanding was about an hour or so ago, NYPD detectives, and my timing could be slightly off, maybe it's a little bit longer than that, arrived on scene and we're going to be assisting in that investigation, Nicole. So you'd have to imagine that that is ongoing. And then the Blair County government there says that they should be updating us on whether or not there's going to be any charges about a weapon, for example, possession of a weapon that could be dealt with before any other charges would be forthcoming. So there is going to be an order of operations here, but our understanding is detectives were on the ground about 2 hours ago, hour and a half, something like that.